Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're exploring the shadows and mysteries of the Bible with questions all about darkness and night, some of the toughest challenges yet. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. 1. What significant event involving darkness occurred while Jesus was crucified? A. A solar eclipse occurred. B. The temple veil was torn. C. Darkness covered the land for 3 hours. D. Stars appeared in the sky. Answer: C. Darkness covered the land for 3 hours. Explanation: during Jesus' crucifixion, from the 6th to the 9th hour, darkness covered the entire land, as recorded in Matthew 27:45. This phenomenon symbolizes the grave nature of the moment, the sin of humanity, and the judgment of God being laid upon Christ as he bore the sins of the world. 2. Who experienced a dream at night about a ladder reaching to heaven? A. Joseph. B. Jacob. C. Daniel. D. Solomon. Answer: B. Jacob. Explanation: Jacob dreamed of a ladder reaching to heaven with angels ascending and descending on it, as mentioned in Genesis 28:12. This dream signified God's presence and the connection between heaven and earth, and it included God's promises of blessing and land to Jacob. 3. In which book of the Bible is the darkness that can be felt mentioned during the plagues? A. Exodus. B. Genesis. C. Leviticus. D. Numbers. Answer: A. Exodus. Explanation: the darkness that could be felt is described during the 9th plague against Egypt in Exodus 10:21. This intense darkness lasted for 3 days, symbolizing the judgment of God and the severe spiritual condition of Egypt under Pharaoh's rule. 4. How does the book of John describe Jesus in relation to darkness? A. The darkness has not understood him. B. The darkness has overcome him. C. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. D. He walks in darkness. Answer: C. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Explanation: John 1-5 describes Jesus as the light shining in the darkness, which the darkness has not overcome. This metaphor illustrates Jesus' divine nature and the unstoppable power of his truth and grace in the face of human sin and evil. 5. What does the book of Proverbs say about the path of the wicked in relation to darkness? A. It shines brightly. B. It is like the noonday sun. C. It is full of shadows. D. They do not know what makes them stumble. Answer: D. They do not know what makes them stumble. Explanation: Proverbs 4:19 states, "The way of the wicked is like deep darkness. They do not know what makes them stumble." This highlights the moral and spiritual blindness that characterizes the life of those who choose wickedness over wisdom. 6. Who had a vision in the night prompting them not to be afraid, but to speak boldly? A. Paul. B. Peter. C. John. D. James. Answer: A. Paul. Explanation: in Acts 18-9, Paul had a vision during the night where the Lord told him not to be afraid but to continue speaking boldly because God was with him. This assurance came while Paul was in Corinth, encouraging him to persist in his ministry despite opposition. 7. In the book of Exodus, how did darkness serve as a sign to Pharaoh? A. It signaled the end of the plagues. B. It was a sign of God's power over the sun god. C. It was a warning of the final plague. D. It represented the joy of the Israelites. Answer B. It was a sign of God's power over the sun god. Explanation. The plague of darkness in Exodus 10:21-23 served as a powerful sign to Pharaoh and Egypt that the God of Israel had authority even over the sun god, Re, whom the Egyptians worshipped. It was a direct challenge to the Egyptian gods and demonstrated God's supremacy and the futility of Pharaoh's defiance. 8. Who was visited by an angel at night, leading to the liberation of the Israelites? A. Moses. B. Aaron. C. Joshua. D. Gideon. Answer. A. Moses. Explanation. Although not specifically at night, Moses had several encounters with God that led to the liberation of the Israelites from Egypt, including the burning bush. However, it was during the night of the Passover that the angel of the Lord passed over Egypt, which directly led to their liberation. Exodus 12. 9. What metaphor does Jesus use to describe his followers in relation to light in the darkness? A. Candles in the wind. B. Stars in the night sky. C. The light of the world. D. Beacons on a hill. Answer. C. The light of the world. Explanation. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus describes his followers as the light of the world, a metaphor that emphasizes their role in bringing truth, morality, and the gospel to a dark and sinful world. Followers of Christ are to shine brightly through good works and lead others to God. 10. How is the day of the Lord described in relation to darkness in the book of Amos? A. As a day of light and salvation. B. As a day of dark clouds. C. As darkness not light. D. As a clear morning. Answer. C. As darkness not light. Explanation. Amos 5:18-20 describes the day of the Lord as darkness, not light, as gloomy, with no brightness in it. This prophetic imagery warns of the judgment and sorrow that will come on that day for those who are unrighteous, contrasting the common expectation of that day as a time of deliverance. 11. Who dreamed of wrestling with an angel during the night? A. Jacob. B. Daniel. C. Ezekiel. D. Abraham. Answer. A. Jacob. Explanation. Genesis 32:24-30 recounts Jacob wrestling with a man who is later understood to be an angel or a manifestation of God through the night until daybreak. This pivotal spiritual encounter results in Jacob's name being changed to Israel, signifying his struggle with God and humans and prevailing. 12. What does it mean in the book of 1 John when it says the darkness is passing and the true light is already shining? A. It signifies the end of the world. B. It refers to the coming of a new prophet. C. It marks the gradual victory of light over darkness. D. It predicts celestial phenomena. Answer. C. It marks the gradual victory of light over darkness. Explanation. 1 John 2:8 speaks of the darkness passing and the true light already shining, symbolizing the advance of God's truth and grace in the world through Jesus Christ. This passage highlights the transformative power of Christ's coming, which dispels spiritual darkness and brings enlightenment to humanity. 13. How is night used metaphorically in the letters of Paul to describe human behavior? A. As a time of rest and peace. B. As a period of sin and moral decay. C. As a symbol of wisdom and knowledge. D. as a representation of joy and celebration. Answer B, as a period of sin and moral decay. Explanation. In Romans 13:12-13, Paul uses night metaphorically to describe the behavior associated with darkness, such as revelry, drunkenness, sexual immorality, and debauchery. He urges believers to cast off the works of darkness and put on the armor of light, encouraging ethical living in anticipation of Christ's return. 14. What Old Testament prophecy speaks of a day that is neither day nor night, but ends in light? A. Isaiah's prophecy. B. Zechariah's prophecy. C. Daniel's prophecy. D. Jeremiah's prophecy. Answer. B. Zechariah's prophecy. Explanation. Zechariah 14-67 prophecies about a unique day known to the Lord, which is neither day nor night, but will have light in the evening. This portrays the unusual nature of God's intervention at the end of times, symbolizing the ultimate victory of light over darkness. 15. In the book of Acts, who was freed from prison during the night by an angel? A. Peter. B. Paul. C. John. D. James. Answer. A. Peter. Explanation. Acts 12-610 describes how Peter was miraculously freed from prison by an angel during the night. This event demonstrated God's power to deliver and protect his apostles, ensuring the continuation of their mission despite persecution. 16. How does Matthew's genealogy establish Jesus' legal right to the throne of David? A. By tracing his lineage through Joseph, the legal father. B. By emphasizing his birth in Bethlehem. C. By direct lineage from God. D. By his teachings and miracles. Answer. A. By tracing his lineage through Joseph, the legal father. Explanation. Matthew's genealogy of Jesus traces through Joseph, who was from the royal line of David, Matthew 1:16. This legal lineage through Joseph establishes Jesus' rightful claim to the throne of David, fulfilling the messianic prophecies that the Messiah would come from David's descendants. 17. What role does the genealogy in Luke play in the narrative of Jesus' life and mission? A. Establishes his divine origin. B. Illustrates his kingly ancestry. C. Emphasizes his role as a teacher. D. Connects him to all of humanity. Answer. D. Connects him to all of humanity. Explanation. Luke's genealogy traces Jesus' lineage back to Adam, Luke 3:38, emphasizing that Jesus is related to all humanity, not just the Jews. This underscores the universal nature of Jesus' mission and his role as the Savior for all people, transcending ethnic and national boundaries. 18. What does Jesus' lineage through both Joseph and Mary signify in terms of messianic prophecy? A. Validates prophecies about his miracles. B. Shows fulfillment of kingly and priestly roles. C. Confirms he is the prophesied seed of the woman. D. Demonstrates he is a prophet like Moses. Answer. C. Confirms he is the prophesied seed of the woman. Explanation. The lineage through both Joseph and Mary emphasizes Jesus' rightful place in the Davidic line and fulfills the Genesis prophecy of the seed of the woman. Genesis 3:15, who would crush the serpent's head, highlighting the dual nature of his fulfillment of messianic prophecies. 19. How does the genealogy of Jesus affirm his claim as the Messiah? A. By showcasing his wisdom and teachings. B. By demonstrating his divine power. C. By linking him to Abraham and David. D. by proving his resurrection. Answer: C. By linking him to Abraham and David. Explanation: both genealogies affirm Jesus' messianic claim by linking him to key patriarchal and royal figures, Abraham and David, fulfilling Jewish expectations and prophecies about the Messiah's origins and his eternal kingdom as foretold in the Scriptures. Matthew 1-117, Luke 3:23-38. 20. What is the theological importance of tracing Jesus' lineage back to Abraham? A. Highlights his role in creating a new covenant. B. Emphasizes his Old Testament knowledge. C. Shows the continuity of God's plan. D. Both A and C. Answer: D. Both A and C. Explanation: tracing Jesus' lineage to Abraham emphasizes the continuity of God's salvation plan from the Old Covenant with Abraham to the New Covenant through Christ. It highlights Jesus' role in fulfilling God's promises to Abraham, including being a blessing to all nations. Genesis 12-3. 21. Why is Jesus sometimes called the Son of David? A. To highlight his teaching in the temple. B. To underscore his fulfillment of Davidic prophecies. C. Because he was born in Jerusalem. D. Due to his friendship with Solomon. Answer: B. To underscore his fulfillment of Davidic prophecies. Explanation: the title Son of David is used to affirm Jesus' fulfillment of the Old Testament prophecies that the Messiah would come from David's lineage, emphasizing his rightful place as the promised eternal king who would reign over God's kingdom. 2 Samuel 7:12-16. 22. How do the genealogies in Matthew and Luke reflect the author's respective audiences? A. Matthew for Jews, Luke for Gentiles. B. Both for early Christian communities. C. Both strictly for historical records. D. Matthew for Romans, Luke for Greeks. Answer: A. Matthew for Jews, Luke for Gentiles. Explanation: Matthew's genealogy is crafted to appeal to Jewish audiences, emphasizing Jesus' descent from Abraham and David, key figures in Jewish history. Luke's genealogy extends back to Adam, appealing to a Gentile audience by highlighting Jesus' universal significance as the Savior of all humanity. 23. What is the significance of the genealogies ending and beginning with Jesus Christ? A. Demonstrates his eternal nature. B. Focuses on his revolutionary teachings. C. Emphasizes his role in fulfilling the law. D. Confirms his historical existence. Answer: A. Demonstrates his eternal nature. Explanation: the genealogies centering on Jesus signify his eternal nature and sovereign role in salvation history. They portray him as the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, central to God's redemptive plan for humanity. 24. How does the genealogy in Matthew emphasize Jesus' role as the Messiah for the Jews? A. By detailing his miracles in Jewish regions. B. By connecting him to Jewish patriarchs and kings. C. By highlighting his adherence to Jewish laws. D. By his teachings in synagogues. Answer: B. By connecting him to Jewish patriarchs and kings. Explanation: Matthew's genealogy connects Jesus to important Jewish figures such as Abraham and David, underscoring his role as the Messiah who fulfills Jewish prophecies and expectations. This linkage is crucial for establishing his legitimacy and authority as the promised king in Jewish tradition. 25. How does the genealogy in Luke emphasize Jesus' universal mission for all of humanity? A. By ending with God. B. by starting with Adam. C. By mentioning non-Jewish figures. And E. Both B and C. Answer D. Both B and C. Explanation. Luke's genealogy emphasizes Jesus' mission for all humanity by starting with Adam and including non-Jewish figures, illustrating that Jesus came as a savior for every person, not just Jews. This inclusive genealogical record highlights the universal scope of Jesus' redemption and mission. 26. Who was Shealtiel, and why is his inclusion in the genealogy of Jesus important? A. A king of Israel. B. Zerubbabel's father. C. A high priest. D. A prophet. Answer. B. Zerubbabel's father. Explanation. Shealtiel, noted as Zerubbabel's father in the genealogies, signifies the continuity of the Davidic line through historical upheavals, such as the Babylonian captivity. His inclusion underscores the fulfillment of God's promises to sustain and restore David's lineage, connecting this lineage to Jesus. 27. How does the genealogy in Matthew reinforce the prophecy of the virgin birth? A. By omitting Joseph's paternal role. B. By mentioning Mary explicitly. C. By tracing Joseph's lineage to David. D. Both A and B. Answer D. Both A and B. Explanation. Matthew's genealogy emphasizes the virgin birth by carefully noting Joseph's role as the husband of Mary, from whom Jesus was born, and explicitly mentioning Mary, aligning with the prophecy in Isaiah 7:14 about the virgin birth. This structuring highlights the miraculous nature of Jesus' birth and fulfills messianic prophecies. 28. What implications does the genealogy have for the doctrine of the incarnation? A. Confirms Jesus' divine nature. B. Shows Jesus as fully human and fully divine. C. Links Jesus to historical figures. D. Both B and C. Answer D. Both B and C. Explanation. The genealogies underscore the doctrine of the incarnation by illustrating Jesus as fully human, linked to historical figures, and fully divine, the Son of God. This dual nature is central to Christian theology, emphasizing his unique role as both human and divine, capable of bridging the gap between God and humanity. 29. How does the genealogy in Matthew challenge or support the concept of the kingly Messiah? A. By excluding regal figures. B. By highlighting his peasant background. C. By connecting him to King David. D. By emphasizing his spiritual kingdom. Answer. C. By connecting him to King David. Explanation. Matthew's genealogy supports the concept of Jesus as a kingly Messiah by connecting him to King David, fulfilling the Jewish expectation of a Messiah who would reign on David's throne eternally. This link not only confirms his royal lineage, but also emphasizes his destined role to restore and rule God's kingdom. 30. What are the implications of the differences in the genealogies of Jesus for biblical inerrancy and reliability? A. Suggests errors in the biblical text. B. Reflects different theological emphasis. C. Undermines the historical accuracy. D. Both B and C. Answer. B. Reflects different theological emphasis. Explanation. The variations in the genealogies of Jesus in Matthew and Luke reflect their different theological emphasis rather than suggest errors. Matthew focuses on Jesus' Jewish heritage and royal lineage, while Luke highlights his universal mission, demonstrating that genealogical differences serve specific narrative and theological purposes rather than undermine the text's reliability.